anything. Know your market, know your customer, and know them well. And I know that seems pretty simple, but a lot of people go into business for various reasons. When people contact me and they want to shoot a business idea past me, they want to shoot a business idea past me. And genuinely, someone told them that, you're really good at that. That's example number one. And if you've ever heard of the book, The E Myth, they call that person the technician. And that person can be like a hairdresser or somebody that bakes really good. Those are going to be my two examples. And they say, you're really good at this. You should start your own business. But that person hasn't technically transferred from a worker bee to an entrepreneur. And so they genuinely skip this step. Like, they know that they have clients and they know that they're making money, but they really don't know their market. Hey, thanks for joining. So again, know your market, know your customer, know them well. So genuinely, the technician does not know their customer. They just know they have customer. They know they have business. But I teach a class. Actually, it's a webinar called the Client Avatar, and I'm gonna go into it because I have a ABC underneath this tip, which helped me to make my first six figures. How did it help me? Is because I did a lot of research prior to really getting started. So I knew my customer really well. And that's A. Research who you think is your customer and rule out any reason why that person will not buy from you. So that's what I did, and that's what you need to do in your business. So if you're live on this broadcast, please put like the different kinds of businesses that you have or you want to start, and I can give you some examples as I go along with this tip. Know your market. Of course, I said I was going to use my own business as an example, which is home health care. So most people, when I told them I had a home health care agency, they said, "Oh, great. So you help seniors." No, actually, we helped families who had special needs children or medically fragile children. And so then, of course, that gets shalom. I'm telling you, so listen up. A lot of times that raises eyebrows. Like, oh wow. So what that does is, if you know your market and you know your customer, you can choose what kind of customer you want in that market space. So, for example, somebody in real estate, you can either work with the general masses, basically, you can specialize. Hey, I only want to help people who are buying their first home, or I only want to help people who are buying $1 million homes. They're high-end real estate people. They're people who help people with bad credit. They're people who help people who want to buy fixer-uppers or stuff like that. So when you know your market, you have to do the research, and then you would say, okay, if there are 5,000 clients out there, how many of those 5,000 clients, this is an example, do I want? How would that make a difference to my bottom line? And your bottom line is how much money you want to make per month. And I would say, if you're just getting started, start with your monthly amount versus your annual amount, because you can build on that. So let's say you want to make $5,000 a month. You want to make $10,000 a month. Okay, so how many people do I need to speak to? How many things do I need to sell, products or services, to get to that amount? Again, this tip really helped me to know my market and to know my customer, know them very well. So I knew my customer, and I knew who my customer was not. So I did not entertain I did not entertain conversations with people who would not be my customer. not to say that I was being mean or anything like that, but I knew if I was in a business setting, like networking or anything like that, I knew who was my customer and I knew who to pitch, or as they say, shoot my shot to. So sometimes you're around, you may be at an event, it could be at your church, it could be at a networking event, it could be at a house party, a housewarming, and someone says, "Hey, what do you do?" And you know, you may confidently say, "Oh, I'm a business owner, blah blah blah," but that's not the person to pitch, shoot your shot to. Um, but you definitely want to give a really good, clear, convey what you do, because they may have a family member or friend that could use your services. So let me skip to number 2, or B. So I said, know your market, know your customer, and know them well. Research who your customer is, and rule out any reasons why that person would not buy from you. Hey, thanks for joining. Hey, Queen. And if you're just joining, you can watch us on a replay. And again, like I said, in my webinar, the client avatar, I show you guys how to do this. I've helped people in the beauty industry, in the fashion industry, home health care, real estate people. They do this exercise and it really helps them to identify who their client is. And it's a simple marketing exercise. It's a little bit easy for me because I have a marketing background from, like I said, I'm both professionally trained and have the work or business knowledge from owning my own business of how to do target marketing. So this is a aspect of target marketing. So number 2 underneath this main tip is learn to think like your customer and anticipate their needs and their wants. What that means is that a lot of times when I talk to specifically new entrepreneurs, new business people, they tend to think that their customer is like them. Hey, Vanessa, how are you? They tend to think their customer is like them. And that is definitely the wrong way to think, because your customer, after you do step 1, you will find out what their buying habits are, what things they will spend money on, what things they will not spend money on, and they're definitely not you. And that's the biggest mistake that I've seen a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs do, is that they tend to want their customer to be like them. Hi, Vanessa. Or they want their customer to be like them, but they're not, and they shouldn't be. And if you do step 1, then like I said, basically the behaviors of your customer, so you can know how to reach them. You reach them through marketing language with your content, whether it's on social media or on your website or your brochure, or you will have great trigger words that you would say to them that will make them be more interested in what you have to sell, product or service. So you learn to think like your customer, anticipate their needs and wants. For example, like I've seen people rule out, oh, I'm not going to push this product, or I'm not going to push this service because maybe it's around school time and they think that their customer is going to be spending money on school supplies or school uniforms, when actually that may only be 35% of your customers, but most of your customers are maybe singles, or they're ready to invest in their business. So depending on what kind of service you have, or you want to product or service you want to have or want to sell, you have to be able to anticipate your customers' needs and wants, and you know that by following their trends and just knowing about them, as we spoke in the first step. Number 3 underneath know your market, know your customer, and know them well is you want to be where your customer, your client is. You want to be very visible. There's a rule, it's a marketing rule called the rule of 7. And basically, a prospect, which means somebody that you're trying to get into a customer, trying to make to be a client or customer, needs to see or hear your marketing message at least 7 times before they take action. So you may feel like, oh, I'm like being repetitive. I keep saying the same thing, when actually, like, that's basically how their brain is trained. They need to keep hearing it. They need to keep seeing you. They need to keep seeing your logo. They need to keep seeing whatever service or product that you're offering before they take action. Very rarely does someone take action the first time. Like, just think about how you shop. And that's why I said, if you do step 1, which is research who you think is your customer and rule out any reason why that person would not buy from you, then you will be able to determine, okay, what things do I need to say in sequence to get them to just go ahead and press that button and go ahead and decide to buy from me and trust my products and trust my services. So to get a little bit more personal, how this worked for me, like I said, is at the beginning, I definitely knew what my market was. And I was very strategic. Like, one of the things that I do with some of the people that I work with when I help them develop a marketing plan is we identify their payer sources or their customers, their clients, and then we develop a marketing activity that is monthly. So maybe this month you're focusing on, your high-end clients, or you're focusing on pushing your message to, these particular people, and you're doing it in a consistent way so they get used to you versus be annoyed by you. So that definitely helped me because actually there was a young lady I was talking to, and she started doing this, and she said she got results as quick as 60 days, which is pretty good considering that I always tell people, marketing, you don't see the results overnight. You guys may have seen or heard of a quote that says, basically, the day you plant the seed is not the day that you can reap the harvest. So just like resembling it to gardening or harvesting, you definitely have to, that's the way marketing works. You have to plant the seed. The plant the seed could be the first conversation you have with potential customer. Maybe the first time they sent you a DM, if you do a lot of business on Instagram or other social media platforms. The first time they asked you about your pricing, the first time you did a consultation, you need to follow up with these people. But that's definitely something that helped me make my first 6 figures, and then it continued to go up because I improved this particular principle. I improved it so that it was sharp. And then when I talk to you guys about my next success tip, which is a little bit associated with that, I'll do that on my next broadcast, then you'll know how they work together. So this is definitely your first step. So again, know your market, know your customer, and know them well. Research who you think is your customer and rule out any reasons why that person would not buy from you. Learn to think like your customer and anticipate their needs and wants. Be in a place where a client is and be very visible. If you're just on Instagram, make sure you're on Facebook. Don't miss out. Don't, as they say, leave any money on the table because you're only in one place. And I know a lot of people say, well, I don't want to manage all these social media platforms, but you want to have your brand message just consistent everywhere. So if somebody was on Facebook, they were on Pinterest, they were on LinkedIn, they were on Snapchat, TikTok, wherever, you want to make sure that they know who you are so that they can gain from using your product or service. This has been a Savvy Business Chick, making sure you know your purpose and destiny in the marketplace. And again, this is success tip number 1 on how I made my first 6 figures.